did you just say?
What'd you say?
What is going on in comedy? Why is there so many more hecklers? Why does every comedian only post their crowd work material? And is it really killing the comedy industry? The short answer is no, okay? Like, how could you not agree that clips that are getting hundreds of millions of views are not helping the community and helping the scene get more recognition from people that would have never thought about going to a comedy show, now might actually purchase a ticket. Now, on the flip side, it may give the wrong impression for new viewers and new comics who may enter the scene for the first time. One is it may encourage the wrong behavior for new and upcoming comics. They may not feel the need to write as much, maybe not write at all any jokes, and just try to riff off the crowds as if they're the next Matt Rife. But in reality, you're not going to be the next Matt Rife in your first 10 tries or 100 tries of doing stand-up comedy. And if you deliberately choose never to write your own original material, you're missing a key part of being a comedian, which is writing your own original content. Now, a second potential downside I see to clip farming crowd work content. Now, it may train new viewers for the wrong behavior. Let's say I'm a new viewer and all I see is crowd work content of hecklers, clip farming, getting hundreds of millions of views. I may go into a show and try to heckle the comedian because I think that's the right thing to do, and I'm helping out the comedian by heckling him. In reality, you're just being an asshole, man. Like, I'm just being an asshole doing that. Even though that's what gets viral on social media, it doesn't mean that's the norm in a comedy show. Hello. Hey, how's it going, man?
Good, man.
Have you heard of stories or had hecklers yourself that would say like, oh, I'm heckling you because it's good for you, I'm helping you clip farm?
Actually, no, I have heard of that happen once. This one comedian told me he was doing a show, he was performing, and then he got heckled by this dude, and then he took him down, and then that guy heckled him again. And then the comedian just went after him and went like, dude, what are you doing? Because the comedian was with a girl, alright? And he asked, he was like, are you guys a couple? And the girl was like, yeah. And then the comedian just goes like, well, is your plan for the night to heckle someone who's trying to change their dreams so you can get pussy at the end of the night? Do you think that's going to impress your girl? And then that guy went like, oh no, man, I was just trying to give you something to work with. I see your recording. So that has happened once, but it's not that often, dude. Like, most of the time, audiences don't like being spoken to at a comedy show at all. They just don't, like, most of the time. There are a few who love it, but mostly they don't. Like, mostly people avoid taking the front row seats because they're like, shit, someone's going to talk to me or roast me.
You as a comedian, like, would you want someone to heckle you during your set?
No, I wouldn't like that unless I'm doing crowd work. Like, if I'm doing crowd work and someone talks to me, or say I'm talking to one person and someone else interrupts the conversation to say something that's on their mind, that is fine. But if I'm doing material, if I'm doing a set, I wouldn't like to be heckled or interrupted. No.
And who would want to be heckled? But why has it become such a norm in comedy recently? Call it liquid courage, call it you're trying to help them. It doesn't matter. It's not an excuse. You're not the comedian. You don't get to decide when they do crowd work. Let them do their set. If they engage with you, fine. Okay, so we know heckling is bad, but what about crowd work? Is the rise of crowd work clip farming ruining the industry? Every other day on the subreddit of stand-up comedy, I'm seeing posts like this where people are complaining about how incredibly unfunny crowd work sets are and how comedians forgot how to write, and this is the world ending for stand-up comedy as a whole, and all this dooming and glooming on these Reddit posts is kind of annoying. So I thought I'd make a video trying to understand what's happening in these communities, why people are still making these posts, Reddit posts like this one, and maybe share my own perspective as someone who has tried stand-up comedy in the past and as someone who has done content creation for the past 3 years now. Maybe not as a comedian, but someone who has seen the creator economy and the social media landscape for the past 3 years. So when I look at posts like this one, it makes me think that, okay, this guy doesn't deliberately make this post to be annoying. He or she probably went to a stand-up show, and maybe there were one too many hecklers interrupting the comedian that wanted to be part of the show. Or maybe there were too many newbies who were trying to be the next Matt Rife, but just failing miserably, right? And just clip farming and trying to do crowd work. I'm of the same mind as this guy who replied, and he said, you know, it's a sign of the times. You know, these things are going to continue to happen, and complaining about it is kind of exhausting. So then why do comedians post crowd work in the first place? Let's look at it from two perspectives, the viewer's perspective and the comedian's perspective. Let's look at the viewers first. Think about it like this. You're on Instagram scrolling and you see a comedian that you like and you see a few jokes and you want to buy a ticket. You buy a ticket to a show, you go to his show, and his setup and his punchline is exactly the same. Wouldn't you feel kind of disappointed? Kind of sad? Yeah, I would too. Comedy is like a murder mystery film. Once you watch it for the first time, every time after that, it's kind of disappointing. You know when the punchline is coming. You know what the punchline is. It loses some of that magic that you had when you saw it for the first time. Crowdwork is a good solution for this because as a viewer, when I just scroll past Crowdwork, I may say, oh, this gives me a taste of what this comedian will do and their wit, but it doesn't necessarily mean that their entire show is only about crowd work. So when I go to it and I watch his set, I'm gonna be blown away. He's gonna show me all the written work that he's done, not just only doing crowd work. Now let's look from the comedian's perspective. Written jokes to a comedian are like secret recipes to a chef. They've only been created and served after hundreds and hundreds of trial and error attempts at trying to craft the perfect combination of sweet and sour, or getting the right timing or cadence for a certain joke. Jerry Seinfeld famously, before ever airing on a late night show or performing on TV, he would go around local comedy clubs and bars and go to open mics and just practice his set over and over hundreds of times just to make sure the jokes was airtight, everything he was saying was good and the cadence was good and the timing was good. Everything was perfect. So no wonder comedians don't want to share and post their written material so fast and so quickly without any guarantee of actual gaining compensation, especially if they decide to go on tour and their tour relies on those very jokes landing and hitting at the next location. Posting crowdwork material solves this problem. Instead of burning the material you're going to use on tour or use in a 5-minute set, why not just post the crowdwork material that's unique to that night and you don't need to worry about burning material? Great solution. Now, with all that in mind, you might say something like, why post in the first place? Why not just stick to live shows? Good question. One word: marketing. Comedy is a performance art, and like other performance arts, they need to fill seats. And now what other better way to get those seats filled than having a comedian with 100,000 of followers that they can market to? Both of Bo Burnham and Hassan Minhaj have said in their early careers that they saw venues and clubs value clout or social media following above a comedian's own, what they bring to the table with their own jokes. This is a potential trend that's been happening for a long time now. I think one of them mentioned that some venues and clubs are asking for a minimum number of followers as a prerequisite in order to book with that specific club or that specific venue. And this is not unheard of. People are aware of this. Comedians know that this exists. Now, does this mean it's impossible to succeed as a comedian if you don't have social media following? I don't think that's necessarily true. One of my friends has done stand-up comedy before, and he's been able to book gigs before. What do you think of my last question of the stand-up comedy scene has become all about marketing? Like clubs and venues denying certain comedians. Like you're going to hit a ceiling if you don't have a certain social media following because as a prerequisite, they're requiring a certain follower count.
From what I know, clubs in Toronto don't really care about how viral you are, to be honest. Because there's this club called Corner Comedy Club. Right? There's Corner Comedy Club, there's Absolute Comedy, there's Yuck Yucks. There's Yuck Yucks. Right? I know these three are, you can say, like the big comedy clubs in Toronto at the moment. Right? And there's a lot of people who are Instagram famous who are not on that club's roster. Those guys still have to go and do the open mic and get selected from there to be able to be on the roster. So at least the clubs in Toronto, from what I know, again, aren't booking based off virality. But there are people who go viral who just do their own shows, which is fine, which is what like a lot of the comics in the States do as well. Like they'll put up crowdwork clips which kind of go viral and they go like, okay, I have a following, I'm going to produce my own shows. And then they just produce their own shows.
That's interesting. Yeah. You can just make your own show and produce your own show rather than being restricted to having to be on the roster. And crowd work is also nice for comedians. When I did it very briefly, like a few years ago, writing and prepping was 90% of the work that I did. Like only a very small portion of my time that I actually did stand-up was on stage. I was prepping, I was writing, carefully crafting when the setup and when I land the joke, when I land the punchline. And it takes a long time to write jokes because you are talking by yourself on stage. You're not having a conversation. And most of us aren't put in a position where you need to talk to yourself and make someone laugh. Most of the time, we're just having conversation. You give me a setup, I say a punchline back to you, and we laugh together. But when you're on stage, you have to create the setup and you have to create the punchline. Crowd work brings it back down to as if you're talking to your friend again, where you can just interact with a stranger, talk about their kids, talk about their job, talk about what they're wearing, talk about their relationship status, whatever. And it's the job of the comedian to weave it back into their written set. So it could be nice for them because they don't need to worry about the setup anymore.
No, crowdwork helps a lot, man, because you're talking to people and they get interested in you because you're addressing them directly, right? Like otherwise, it kind of seems like you're just going up there and doing a speech. I've seen that with a lot of comics, and I guess I do that too at times, or maybe I used to do it. I'm not too sure. I'm more comfortable now, but at one point in time, I'd just go up and I'd start doing material. Like, even if the show is dead, like say the show is dead and like no one's laughing and the audience is not interested, I would earlier just go up and start doing material. But now I go like, okay, I need to get people into the show. I need to make sure they have an interest in what I'm saying. So I need to talk to individual groups and try and get them into, whatever it is I'm going to say. And then the conversation you're having, like, you can put your joke into a conversation that you're having.
Right.
Essentially, like that's what I'm gonna say. Like, if you're talking to someone about, like, if you talk to a couple, be like, oh, how long have you been together for? And then they say something, and you go like, where did you meet? And they go like, oh, we met on this app. And then if you have a dating joke, from there you can just go into your dating joke. It kind of helps you out in a way.
So why does content about crowd work get so many views? It's pretty obvious. Authenticity. People are craving genuine reactions to things. When they roast content now, they're like, oh, this is fake, this is not real, this is scripted, they're actors. People hate on content because it is scripted, because it's not real, it's not genuine. People love authentic and genuine reactions to things, and stand-up comedy, and specifically crowd work, is perfect for this. How could you think that this is fake? Why would a comedian pay a heckler to heckle at them during their set and throw them off? Like, going into the clip that this is a genuine reaction, and that already is a selling point for you on these clips. Now, crowd work also fits so perfectly within this trend because of FOMO. It also gives viewers the fear of missing out because they're missing out on watching it live, and they're wanting to book and purchase a ticket for the show if the comedian ever comes to their city. And now, with my time on YouTube, with my time studying the creator economy, people don't like scripted content, or at least they're engaging less and less with scripted content. Street interviews like all of these are so popular because it's like you're there on the street with them, witnessing these conversations happen for the first time. I would so much rather watch 100 shorts and getting their genuine reactions to hot takes versus a scripted content about a guy or a girl just reading off a script, looking at a camera. Like, that's so much less engaging. And to prove my point, my most viewed video is the one where I was just vlogging. There was no script at all. All my other videos perform worse. After saying everything I just said, there are 3 takeaways I want for this video. Number 1, if you're a viewer, first time coming into comedy, just know that let comedians do their set. If they go and do crowd work and they ask you questions, fair game. But don't be an asshole, don't be a heckler, that's not wanted, right? You think you're doing them a favor, you're not. Number 2, for new and upcoming comics, clip farming and marketing is part of the game now, but you can't neglect a key other half of stand-up comedy, which is writing your own damn original jokes. And number 3, for everyone else who isn't a viewer, who isn't a comedian, if you know someone who's thinking about being that heckler, who's thinking about, causing commotion in a stand-up show, maybe check them. Maybe be like, yo, bro, that's not what the comedian wants you to do right now. Okay, so that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover when it comes to stand-up comedy and clip farming about crowd work content when it comes to comedians. I thought it was an interesting topic. If you disagree with me on anything I said here, let me know. I'd be interested to have that conversation in the comments. But yeah. So what do you think about the new comedian? Do you think there are new comedians who are just trying to be like just clip farming and like they're not actually trying to write actually be a comedian? They're just trying to clip farm.
I would say no. I don't think people are trying to clip farm. I mean, but like also like right now the only way to kind of make it as a comedian is by going viral on the internet. Right? Like there's no that's the easiest way at this point of time. The other ways will just take you a long time. Like right now, if you have one 30-second clip of yours go viral on the internet and you put a post up saying, oh, I'm doing a show here, you should come watch, people will follow you and come there to watch your show.
Right.
So
yeah.
I wouldn't say it's hurting the scene. I'd say it's opening newer doors in the scene.
So you don't think it's hurting the scene? It's opening doors, the ability to just go viral online such that you can be famous and then people can come see your show. Okay. Yeah. So then what do you think?
That's what everyone's chasing, right? Everyone's chasing fame at this point of time. You obviously have to also be good because like your crowd, like one Crowdwork clip can go viral and then people come to your show and you're not good, then you're just fucked. Like it's one of those things. Like your Crowdwork has to be good because if people are coming to watch you do Crowdwork, they've seen your one clip online and they go like, oh, this guy's probably good. But if they go and they see you're not good, you lose those people who've come to watch you.
You lose credibility for sure.
You lose credibility.